The article we published in the journal Latina carries out a wide analysis of the attitudes which have surrounded the Basque and Spanish press coverage of the Basque conflict over the last 4 decades. The research period goes from the end of the dictatorship in 1975 to the present. The methodology we used in our research is eminently qualitative. We have used 4 techniques simultaneously: a direct observation study carried out throughout our professional and academic trajectory, 2 hemerographic studies, the first carried out between 1999 and 1996, and the second between 1998 and 2002. A content analysis of 10 paradigmatic news items, and finally a discussion group with experts on the subject in 2016. In our research results, we distinguish 4 different periods. The first goes from 1975 to 1988, from the death of the dictator to the signature of the Ajuria-Enea Agreement. This first period was dominated by a lack of unified criteria in the press coverage of the news related to political violence. The second period goes from 1988 to 2000, the year when the 2 major Spanish political parties, the Popular Party and the Socialist Party, signed the anti-terrorist agreement. This second period was marked by some unification of criteria to report on events related to the conflict, and at the same time, the increase of hostility in their contents and their editorial lines. The third period goes from 2000 to 2011, when ETA announced the definitive end of its armed campaign. This period is determined by what we call trench journalism. Finally, the fourth period goes from 2011 to nowadays. In this period, we notice that the location where each newspaper is edited conditions more than ever the frame of the news. In our conclusions, we note that various factors must be taken into account in order to understand the press coverage of the Basque conflict by the Basque and Spanish press during the studied period. Among all these factors, we underline 4. 1, the political context of each moment. 2, the evolution produced by ETA's actions. 3, the place where each newspaper is edited. And 4, the editorial line of the media source. All things considered, it could be said that the press coverage of the Basque conflict resembles a spherical polyhedron turning its own axis. It only needs to be moved a few millimeters one way or the other for the perception which it projects to be different from the previous one. There were many significant attacks in the history of ETA, but perhaps the key event par excellence was the assassination of Miguel Ángel Blanco in 1997. From then on, the attitudes of the press in general became much more belligerent, both with ETA and the Basque nationalist left. Finally, we conclude that in general, the press hasn't followed the UNESCO recommendations relating to the role of the media in times of conflict. Those recommendations stress that respect for the truth and the promotion of free expression of ideas usually contribute to political resolution, to conflict resolution. Although there are reprehensible aspects to all the newspapers, our research shows that the attitude of the press edited in Madrid has been more misinforming than that of the Basque press.